Hello again from Gadigal Land and the University of Technology Sydney, home of the Institute for Sustainable Futures. You're watching episode 3 of Sustaining Australia TV, brought to you by the Australian Food and Grocery Council in partnership with ASN Media. I'm Jessica Ridley, and in this episode, our focus turns to how Australian food and grocery businesses are tackling the important challenge of supply chain and emissions reduction. A resilient supply chain has become a critical factor for the food and grocery sector, and the times are demanding bold decisions on innovation and investment. Drinks manufacturer Frucor Suntory has put $400 million into a world-class net zero manufacturing site in Queensland. As Richard Brunsma reports, the new facility will help meet consumer demand whilst delivering on sustainability commitments.
It may not look like much now, but these are the foundations of a net zero facility for the future. A $400 million state-of-the-art drinks processing and distribution centre in Ipswich, southeast Queensland. This groundbreaking expansion into Australia by beverage company Frucor Suntory is part of an ambitious investment in both growth and sustainability.
We started to talk about bringing this fabulous facility here to Australia. One of the big focuses for Suntory was the commitment around sustainability, and they want this to be a benchmark site that actually helps drive more sustainable investment, not only for Suntory but around us.
The factory is part of Suntory Group, an international multi-beverage business with more than 300 brands in more than 120 countries. In Australia, the company manufactures and distributes brands like V Energy, Maximus, and Suntory Boss Coffee. This 17-hectare Swanbank facility is on track to begin manufacturing, packaging and distribution by mid-2024, helping power the company's supply chain and supporting its goal to further grow its presence in the Oceania region.
At the first phase of the ramp up, we're going to be able to produce 20 million cases from this facility, and that has the capacity to go up to beyond 50 million cases.
What Swanbank will unlock is just the opportunity for us to really scale into the Australian market, which is super exciting when you think about the growth trajectory that we're already on for the V brand and other brands in our portfolio such as Boss and Maximus. It'll just really unlock the shackles for us and allow us to do even greater things.
When Suntory was founded over 120 years ago, the family were very committed to humanity, committed to the merge between people and their environment, the planet. So it's part of the DNA of Suntory.
Everything that we're doing and every choice that we're making, we're really thinking about sustainability and the impact it will have on the environment. And I think that'll be something that our consumers and our customers will be really excited to hear about.
More than 14 kilometres of solar panels and a biomass boiler will support renewable power on site, as well as other technologies such as energy-efficient cooling and refrigeration systems and on-site waste management and water recycling. The business is also focused on making it easy for their consumers to make sustainable choices. The company has committed to achieving 100% recyclable packaging by 2030. With its own research and development centre, the team is making progress, currently at 93% recyclable packaging.
Having it done in-house allows us to just develop materials at pace without having to rely on external suppliers or partners to be able to do it. So that means we're able to be really agile. There's still a lot to go in this space, but we have a plan in place for the next few years to actually achieve our goal of 100% sustainable plastics.
This focus on sustainability will be continued at Swanbank.
We've partnered with a number of recycling companies to recycle any wastage of cans or bottles or glass and packaging.
We're thinking about the decisions that we make as we look to progress with our new manufacturing site and keeping in mind the sustainable footprint.
It goes right to the core of the Yata Minahari spirit, which is what Suntory is all about. Apart from growing for good, we do it with a spirit that says that there's no challenge that's impossible and that we will work hard to overcome those challenges so that we can meet a sustainable future.
It is ambitious, but it's achievable, and we've got a really clear plan.
It's really good to be actually working on these projects because it feels like we are part of a solution.
The company has come a long way since it started as the New Zealand Apple and Pear Board in 1962, growing in leaps and bounds. And this growth will be unlocked further by Swanbank, which will be the centrepiece for Suntory in the APAC region. In fact, it's the biggest FMCG investment of this size in Australia in the last decade.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest, investment that Suntory's made outside of Japan. And this gives us the best platform for a longer-term growth agenda to bring the very best of Suntory here to Oceania.
The sustainability journey can be different for every business, many of which are still recovering from recent disruptions. So how can the AFGC assist its members in making the right decisions at the right time? Here's Council CEO Tanya Barden.
Food and grocery manufacturers are looking at sustainability as a way to not only improve environmental outcomes, but to also improve business outcomes. That can mean we're looking at how we can use resources more efficiently by reducing the amount of energy and water, for example, that is used in a production process. We're also looking at supply chains and ethical sourcing to ensure that there isn't harm being caused to communities from where some of these ingredients are being sourced. It can also mean looking at the way that product is distributed. So, for example, minimising the routes to market for some of these products. All of these sustainability outcomes can have beneficial environmental performance, both in terms of emissions but also reduced resource use. But it can also lead to some cost savings for businesses. The business case, however, to make some of these new investments can sometimes be challenging. One of the areas that the industry really needs to focus on is investing in new capital equipment, and we have been making statements to the federal government for proposals around investment incentives to help drive this capital investment shift that is really needed right across the industry.
How can the AFGC help?
The Food and Grocery Council plays a really important role in the industry. We advocate on the industry's behalf to ensure the right policy settings for the future growth of the industry, but we also work collectively. We take action with businesses to solve problems that they can't alone, and the work we've done on soft plastic recycling is a great example of that. But the third area that we support the industry is also providing information and insights to help guide them. So we can provide information on global trends, on what's happening in domestic regulatory settings, for example, but we can also provide insights around what's happening with the shopper, with consumers, with changes in trends in those areas. So by working collectively as an industry, we can ensure the strength which will help to support the growth of the industry into the future.
The sustainability journey can be very different for businesses who have just overcome recent disruptions. They're of different sizes within the industry. How can the AFGC assist them?
The Food and Grocery Council recognises that different size businesses are able to move on a sustainability journey at a different pace. It's really important that we harness the passion, the initiative and the drive of the big businesses and the resourcing of the big businesses to be able to solve some of these challenges around supply chain emissions and packaging circularity. But by doing that, we also can showcase to the mid and smaller businesses what is possible and start to get scale and traction with some of these initiatives. So for the AFGC, it's all about working with the big to lead change and then working with the smaller to mid-sized businesses to bring them along on that journey as well.
While consumers might not see any change in products they know and love, behind the scenes, manufacturers are making big changes to make operations more sustainable. As Michael Sexton reports, Tip Top Bakeries is investing in solar energy on their journey to a renewable future, with rooftop solar alone removing around 8,000 tonnes of CO2 per year.
Solar makes absolute sense for us for environmental reasons, but also commercially. It's a great way for us to show the community how much we care about the environment and about being renewable.
Every day as the sun rises, Tip Top Bakers are already hard at work. And glistening on the roof above them are hundreds of solar panels helping drive the production lines.
Sustainable and responsible is a core part of our business strategy. At Tip Top, we believe that feeding the community more sustainably is a key responsibility of ours.
Tip Top is one of the largest food manufacturers in Australia and New Zealand, producing over 1 million products every day.
Tip Top consumes a lot of electricity, and I think led with authenticity in accepting that we are a big energy user and doing something about it.
The company has embarked on an ambitious approach to how it sources electricity, starting with the installation of mass solar arrays. This one in Adelaide alone is just under 1 megawatt and generates a quarter of the energy used.
We've invested in 5 of our sites already, so we have invested in our Townsville bakery, our Bendigo site, our Truganina depot. We're here in Dry Creek, where we've put an investment into this site, and we've also done Carrara. We have another 5 sites that we're investing in over the next 2 years: Springwood, Canning Vale, Chullora, Dandenong and Charmhaven.
It isn't always straightforward. Some older sites needed the roofs replaced, while at other sites space was limited.
We've had to be a little bit more creative and split them between ground mount and roof mount. We've also got some newer sites where we've got very large arrays and we can't take the weighting on the roof, so we've had to be a little bit more creative around finding lightweight solar panels so we can maximise the roof space.
In total, the rooftop arrays will generate 16% of the power the company uses.
We are removing about 4,000 tonnes of CO2 per year, and when we've finished our programme, that'll go to 8,000 tonnes. When we finally hit our 100% renewable targets, there'll be more than 50,000 tonnes of CO2 we won't be emitting into the atmosphere.
Tip Top has bakeries dotted throughout Australia. This one is at Dry Creek in Adelaide's northern suburbs, and as it operates 24/7, it has a large energy need. Now, the savings the company has made through its solar program are being reinvested as it searches for a sustainable future.
We have a full sustainability program and commitments to 2025, and that involves energy reduction across electricity, gas, water. We're aiming for a zero waste to landfill. We're looking at a 30% reduction in our CO2 emissions across our entire network, 30% reduction in our emissions in supply of our customers, so that's through our supply chain.
Despite its enormous solar rollout, there isn't enough space to generate the amount of power needed, and so the company is looking at topping up with green electricity via power purchase agreements with renewable generators or large-scale generation certificates.
For us to get to 100% renewable, we need to take those savings we get from the solar and reinvest them in other opportunities, whether those are AFGC certificates or PPAs or other technologies. Solar really is the first step for us in that journey to 100% renewable.
For the 3,500 employees, there's a daily delivery to a hungry nation. But increasingly, it comes with a commitment to a sustainable future.
Personally, I just love it when you see our products on the shelf, to know that as a responsible manufacturer, we've used solar and energy responsibly to produce those products. It makes you really proud to work for our company.
The Institute for Sustainable Futures here at the University of Technology, Sydney, is a part of the Product Stewardship Centre of Excellence, a collaboration formed to establish Australia as a leader in product stewardship and circular economies. To show industry and stakeholders the contribution and potential of stewardship thinking, a Product Stewardship Gateway has been established. We caught up with Associate Professor Nick Florin to find out what outcomes product stewardship is delivering.
Our research and survey of businesses shows that businesses engaging in product stewardship are actually realising cost savings. Businesses are also finding new opportunities, including producing new products with recovered materials.
And that's good news for manufacturers in the food and grocery sector who are addressing today's sustainability challenges.
Product stewardship is an approach where businesses that are making or importing, distributing or selling products take responsibility for the environmental and the social impacts of the products across the whole product life cycle. So that includes when they're made, when they're in use, and at end of life.
Research Director Associate Professor Nick Florin is Principal Advisor for the Product Stewardship Centre of Excellence.
Product stewardship is essential for businesses in transitioning to a low-carbon circular economy. And the reason I say this is because product stewardship provides a practical way to implement the principles of a circular economy.
The Product Stewardship Gateway is a database of product stewardship activities and initiatives in Australia, including the Soft Plastics Recycling Initiative being led by the Australian Food and Grocery Council.
The first principle is avoiding waste and pollution. So through product stewardship activities such as designing for recycling or using renewable energy in the supply chain, this principle of the circular economy can be implemented. Another principle of the circular economy is keeping materials in use for as long as possible. And product stewardship activities such as designing products to be durable or enabling products or packaging to be reusable or refillable serve to support this. And finally, in terms of regenerating nature, product stewardship activities such as selecting packaging that's compostable and where there's a pathway to recover the nutrients for soil remediation.
The Gateway has been developed to assess the effectiveness and benefits of product stewardship in a project led by the Institute for Sustainable Futures with the Product Stewardship Centre of Excellence, along with the Commonwealth Department of Climate Change, Energy, the Environment and Water. It's a timely and useful source of information and inspiration for all sizes of manufacturer as well as policymakers.
At the moment, our production and consumption practices are not sustainable, and this is evidenced by our reliance on non-renewable resources. It's evidenced by climate change, loss of habitat, pollution of waterways. And businesses have the opportunity to have the greatest impact. By engaging in product stewardship initiatives, they can address these issues, they can avoid the use of hazardous materials, they can increase recycling of products by designing for recycling.
The main financial responsibility rests with those making or importing, distributing and selling products, a responsibility that is shaping consumer expectations.
I think an ideal future is where all businesses in the sector are engaged in product stewardship and product stewardship is adopted as part of standard business practice.
The food and grocery sector is one where some of our biggest sustainability challenges, product stewardship, the circular economy and emissions reduction, are being tackled head-on. Consumer expectations and environmental imperatives are transforming nearly every aspect of manufacturers' operations. And as Joe Pearson reports, decarbonising a business the size of Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners not only ensures a sustainable future, it's also important for attracting bright young talent.
Sustainability is really important to me. And in supply chain, I feel there's a real opportunity to make improvements in that area, and the opportunity for me to improve that, it's a dream career.
It's a career choice that you wouldn't find too often amongst young women. But for 22-year-old Brooke Ellison, a supply chain career in a company with ambitious sustainability goals was irresistible.
I love the end-to-end process of supply chain, seeing a product begin from raw materials all the way out to the transportation and distribution to our customers.
Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners has a target of net zero by 2040. But how do you decarbonise an organisation with the size and scale of this business?
At CCEP, we're committed to RE100 by 2025. We do it in two ways. One, using the vast real estate we have on our roofs through the installation of solar panels. The second thing is through long-term partnerships.
Our partnership with Alinta Energy started on January 1st this year, and it's with a wind farm out in Western Australia called Yandin. And with that, we are directly procuring 13,000 megawatt hours per annum of renewable electricity, which effectively powers our entire Western Australian operations. We have another couple of programs coming online this year, which will boost us up towards 50% by the end of the year. And then we are looking for power purchase agreements, additional solar rollouts, which will boost us up to that 100% by 2025.
Upgrading infrastructure, particularly at manufacturing sites, helps to ensure production is as sustainable as possible and is critical to CCEP's decarbonisation journey.
We've invested tens of millions of dollars in our newest can line in Victoria. It's the most energy efficient, it uses the least amount of water, and overall the most sustainable can line we have. Typically when you fill a can, you heat it and then cool it. This one allows you to do it all at room temperature, which removes energy from the process.
And in a country the size of Australia, a strategic approach to planning which products are made where can have a big impact on emissions. Optimising the mix of transport also contributes to the reduction of emissions.
We put product on the most sustainable modes possible. And in Australia, that's putting it on sea. And if you can't put it on sea, put it on rail. And if you can't put it on rail, put it on road. And when you do put it on road, put it on the highest utilised vehicles possible, and then invest in technology. Route optimisation is the most important thing. It's not only good for the environment, it's good for business. And we've taken over 20% of the kilometres off the road while serving our customers better.
It turns out that one of the biggest opportunities for reducing carbon emissions is not so much the manufacturing process or transporting the product from factory to store, but is in fact these, the fridges at point of sale.
The fridges that are behind me are around about 80% more efficient than what they were about 10 years ago. And that's been a combination of systems like lighting, like refrigerants, like insulation, and a new program around a connectivity that allows our systems to view what the cooler is actually doing in market and be able to organise maintenance and so forth around that.
And when it comes to packaging, CCEP is lightweighting wherever it can. That is, reducing the resources needed to make its bottles and cans. 10 years of lightweighting PET bottles has resulted in the saving of many tens of thousands of tonnes of CO2 and of resin. And there are current efforts to lightweight aluminium cans.
Once we've established that, we'll save around about 600 tonnes of aluminium per annum from our cans overall.
The company is also determined to reduce its carbon footprint by using no new plastic in its bottles by 2030. Access to locally produced recycled plastic resin is critical to this and is being made available through CCEP's investment in PET recycling plants in New South Wales and Victoria as part of a joint venture with Pact Group, Cleanaway Waste Management and competitor Asahi Beverages.
We might compete on the shelf, but we shouldn't compete on the environment. We all have a part to play, whether it's in reusing materials, participating in collections, or working together to solve problems that none of us can do on our own.
It's really important for companies in the food and grocery industry like CCEP to invest in sustainability initiatives because it does help them to attract the best and brightest young talent for the future.
Well, that wraps up episode 3 of Sustaining Australia TV. In episode 4, we look at the contribution of regional food and grocery manufacturers to local communities and to the national economy. Now, remember, all 4 episodes of Sustaining Australia TV can be downloaded and shared from the AFGC website.